Welcome to today's 10 at 10. And I need to do two things here just real quick to make sure tech is working and figure out whether or not this is actually going on live or not. So I'm kind of looking over here for a notification. But today, yes, we are good. Welcome to 10 at 10. It's Tuesday. And today I'm going to be talking about insecurity, self-esteem, and ego. So first thing I want to tell you is stop comparing yourself to others on social media. Is it easy? No. It's a total dopamine hit that traps your brain in an addictive loop because people post about their dog dying and their dad dying and how it was 14 years ago today that their best kitty cat ever went over the Rainbow Bridge. But they never, ever post, hey, I was a total jackass to my wife today when I got home from work, or I was texting my old boyfriend because his mom died and my flavor of the month saw it and we had a huge fight and he just couldn't seem to let it go. They don't post that stuff. So what you see on social media is not real life. It's not the day-to-day stuff that everybody deals with. So what you end up seeing is the really good stuff. Or, they post when they have emotional bad days, and that's, we get to share in that and realize that they need a little bit of extra support, and that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying is when you always look at what seems to be perfection and you compare yourself to that, it can create a lot of insecurities. So in this episode of 10 at 10, we're talking about insecurity, self-esteem, and ego. First, I want to give you some tools to deal with insecurity. And it's the theme, insecurity and jealousy is the theme for this week. Now, we only have 10 minutes, so pay attention because I'm hitting this stuff fast. Now, after I'm going to cover, after insecurity and tools that you can use, I'm going to cover the self-esteem and the other end of that teeter-totter, which is ego. So here are 4 quick, easy ways to deal with insecurity. It's a simple 3-step process. Remember, everything that I teach is easy to understand, easy to remember, and even easier to implement. Number 1, stop overthinking. The quickest way to lose in this whole insecurity battle is overthinking. If you take a negative thought, you keep dwelling on it, then that negative thought will seem more important and more common than it really is. You're also going to drain your energy. You'll be exhausted and you won't know why. Number 2, find the source. We all have insecurities. It's human nature. But when they're big ones, you need to find the source of them. Think back. Do that in self-inventory. How long have you felt that way about this particular insecurity? And who was around when you felt it the most? Have you had it since childhood? Does it come up when you're around your friends, maybe your exes, whether you're in contact with them or you're thinking back over past relationships? So ask yourself some tough questions and determine where these feelings started. 3, cut the comparisons. When you focus on comparing yourself or your relationships to others, you are absolutely guaranteed to be disappointed. The first place to stop is social media. Again, lots of people portray their lives as perfect on Facebook and Insta. And if that's where you're comparing yourself to others, it's not real. So think about what they're posting and be able to celebrate with them the wonderful things that they're posting. That's great that they get to share them and you get to be in contact with people. Social media has a lot of benefits, but people don't share the real nitty-gritty, down-to-earth stuff that's happening. They share the really positive stuff. They share the really sad stuff that is surface level. It's like an elevator conversation. And so when you see that, everything else seems perfect. So 99.9% of what you see posted is not really real life. It's bits and pieces of it. So stop comparing. Is it easy? No. Look, Facebook executives have come out and they've said We deliberately did stuff that we knew would be addictive to your brain. Those feel-good chemicals, DOSE, D-O-S-E, dopamine, oxytocin, almost said Oxycontin, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, the good, feel-good chemicals, specifically one, dopamine. You get that dopamine hit, and it traps your brain in an addictive loop. It's not a good loop. That's why you keep checking your phone every time it dings or beeps or vibrates, because you're like, oh, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? It's dopamine. That's what's next. And you're addicted to it. Break that. Number 4, the 4th step, the last step in this, is surround yourself with positivity. Surround yourself with good things and good people. There's this amazing guy. His name was Jim Rohn. He's kind of like the father of personal development and coaching. He once said that we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So who are the people that you're choosing to spend your time with? Are they people who bring you up, or do they bring you down? I've told you before, you cannot be in fear or anger or insecurity when you are in gratitude. So getting into gratitude takes you immediately out of those negative emotions. And think about who you're hanging out with. If those people are bringing you into negative emotions where you're not feeling good about yourself, there's a lot of drama around them all the time. Maybe they are toxic friends. Then you need to make different choices in life. Remember, live your life by design, not by default. Don't just hang out with those people because, well, it's COVID and it's shutdowns and I don't have anybody else to hang out with. Well, don't hang out with them. Take a minute. I want you to think about all of the things that you are grateful for. Maybe it's some really amazing friends. Maybe it could be anything. Look around the room that you're in right now while you're watching this video, and think about the things that you see that you're grateful for. And if you're feeling really insecure, you could make a gratitude list. Now, all you have to do, this is a simple one, go over to tomorrowspoliceofficer.com and look for the relationships tab. There's a free download for 30 prompts to help you in writing this stuff out. 30. Shoot, if you can find just one thing in that 30, you'll shift your brain into executive state right away. Out of survival state into executive state. Now, I didn't give you 5 or 10. I'm giving you 30 different things. You can start a gratitude journal. Start writing down the things that you're grateful for, because you can refer back to that later, and it's a really, really powerful tool. Journaling is a powerful technique to use also. So there you go. Easy to understand, easy to remember, and even easier to implement. Now, let's talk about self-esteem and its very, very ugly cousin, ego. Self-esteem, it's measured from the inside, how you feel about yourself. It's your self-worth. How much are you of value to yourself and to others? High self-esteem, well, you need it in order to be able to reach your full potential in life. Maslow, in his hierarchy of needs, pointed that out for us. Now, ego has a lot of different definitions, but here's a simple one. Ego is measured from the outside. Your accomplishments, like getting promoted to a higher rank, or the expensive watch that you wear, the huge house that you live in, the boat or the jet skis or the snowmobiles or fancy car that you have. Now, it doesn't mean it's bad to have those things. It's great to have those things. It only means, what are you using to measure your identity and to measure your worth on this planet? If it's all or mostly from material things, you're coming from a place of ego. It's ego. It's also a self-defense mechanism. It's indulging in self-destructive behaviors that are all about what I want and I need. It's making a point about the differences between you and others, where you are always the best. I'm better than him. I'm cooler than her. I'm more sophisticated than they are. I'm more successful. And you're looking down on others when you do that. You're thinking that you're superior to them. Ego operates also out of self-interest, which is totally different than self-confidence. And self-confidence it's you knowing that you can accomplish something. If I'm about to knock a door in to serve a warrant and I've got an amazingly well-trained team with me, I'm going to have a lot of confidence that we can get the job done well and safely. That's not ego. That's self-confidence. Self-confidence is great. Self-confidence and self-esteem are still different, but oftentimes they go hand in hand. Now, it's one thing to have passion and a high level of dedication. What's totally different is being self-righteous and judging others. That would be ego. So ego and self-esteem, they're opposites. Picture the teeter-totter on a child's playground. They're inversely proportional. If your self-esteem is low, you've got high ego. And if you have high self-esteem, your ego is low. And here's the easiest way to put it. The essential difference is that ego is negative and unhelpful, and self-esteem is positive and an indication of confidence. One of my favorite stories is this. It's called The Two Wolves. And an old Cherokee Indian is teaching his grandson about life. "A fight is going on inside me," he said to the boy. It's a terrible fight, and it's between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. He went on to say that the other wolf, he's joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, faith. And the same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person too. And the grandson thought about it for a minute, and he asked his grandfather, "Which wolf will win?" And the grandfather simply said, "The one you feed." So here are 3 ways to feed the right wolf. Here's 3 ways to increase your self-esteem. Remember, I'm giving you tools, easy to understand, easy to remember, easy to implement. First tool to increase your self-esteem, exercise. It's a great way to increase motivation. You can practice setting goals, building confidence. Also, breaking a sweat also tells your body, it cues it up to release endorphins. Remember, DOSE, one of the feel-good hormones is endorphins. The E in DOSE, dose. Number two, remember, everyone makes mistakes. In law enforcement, we have issue with that because we have a really strong ethos, a custom, our character, our personality. When we make mistakes, people die. So we end up being really unforgiving of ourselves and others. And you wonder why the suicide rate is so high in law enforcement. That's one of the chief factors. And I firmly believe that. But see, at the same time, while we have this, when we make mistakes, people die, we're also human beings. And one of my common phrases are, "There are no lives at stake here." It's a great way. There are no lives at stake here. It's a great way to remind myself and the other people I'm dealing with is what level of importance are we going to place on what we're dealing with right now? Now, if there are lives at stake, by all means, you don't want to make mistakes. But most of the time, 98% of the time, there aren't lives at stake. So that's my signal to not be so hard on myself, not so hard on others when they make an oops. Third thing, make sure to look at all of the many small things that you did do right. You got up on time? Check. You made your bed as soon as you got up? Check. Which, by the way, there's an awesome video that you can find on YouTube by Navy Admiral William McRaven on making your bed in the morning. Great video to watch. Now, what I'm saying is a lot of what you do is right. And you have got to look at the things that you do right. And then that's a form of gratitude. And that means you're shifting from survival state into executive state. And that's where we have our best thoughts. We make our best decisions. We're our most productive. And that means we will do even more things that are right and good and raise our self-esteem even higher. It's an amazing cycle upward. So, which wolf are you going to feed? Tomorrow on 10 at 10, we're going to be continuing the theme of insecurity and jealousy for the week. I'm going to be talking about agreements in relationships and how they can make life really great. Just for a quick sneak peek, here's a phrase I'll be talking about tomorrow that seems totally wrong, but it's true. And that phrase is boundaries give you freedom. You're like, what, Carrie? How can boundaries, things that hold you in, how can boundaries give you freedom? Well, check out 10 at 10 tomorrow, and you're going to find out. Now, before you leave, be sure to drop in below in the comments section what you do to increase your self-esteem. Also, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button on the video too. Please share it with your friends. Let other people know about 10 at 10 and let them know about tomorrow's police officer. Until next time, stay safe.